Yo, what is happening, everybody? This is Rob of Rule of Two Review. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about the Switch's insane holiday sales and what they mean to the bigger picture of Nintendo's overall success. So, as we of course all know, it is the holiday shopping season. In fact, here in the United States, we just had Black Friday a couple of days ago. Yes, the worst shopping day in the year, Black Friday. We all hate it, even though we enjoy the great deals that we find, and a lot of us spend a lot of money on Black Friday, taking advantage of the sales day. It is just kind of an overall bad situation, right? We know the reasons why Black Friday sucks. It sucks for the retail workers. It sucks for all the long lines that we wait out in the middle of the night. It sucks for all the fights and things that happen. It's just bad all around. It's so crazy commercial. But that means that we're in the dead middle of this crazy shopping season, right? Once you hit that Thanksgiving Black Friday time. So at the very least, it does become a great gauge and a barometer for how things are going as far as sales of different video game titles and, of course, of video game hardware, which is what we're talking about today. Hardware game sales, and most specifically the Nintendo Switch and how well it really seems to be doing right now. And the fact that it's also doing well in the face of launches of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, the next generation. They are real, they are here. Many of us have them in our homes. You guys know I myself own a PlayStation 5. And they're extremely popular, they're very successful, they are impossible to find because they're sold out all over the place. Partly because of scalpers, which we know is terrible, but also partly because they are very popular, things to have. And so a big conversation that a lot of us were having throughout the year, definitely myself included, I talked about this several times in 2020, was how the Nintendo Switch was going to fare against the launch of next generation consoles from Sony and Microsoft, and also what the bigger picture might be down the road. And that's when you consider my predictions and opinions and discussions I've had throughout the year, and also what we're going to talk about today. A lot of my overall thoughts about how things might shape out between the Nintendo Switch and the new PS5 and Series X had to do not so much with the initial launch, but more the long-term play and how things are going to play out as everyone settles into the new generation, having PS5s and Series X's, a 3 to 4 year old Switch at the time, and how everyone is going to make plans for their consoles in the years down the road. And what's really crazy right now, you guys, is that all indications are that currently the Nintendo Switch is doing incredibly, insanely, remarkably well over this holiday period in Q4 of 2020, and again, as I said, in the face of new consoles from Sony and Microsoft. In fact, we have a great indicator to this success via a tweet from a fellow named David Gibson, who is actually an industry analyst, and he quote tweeted OJ from Player Essence, who you guys obviously, I'm sure you know. OJ's a good friend of the channel. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Player Essence. He's a really, really good dude. And it's pretty crazy that David Gibson here quote tweeted this tweet from OJ, and you can see what they say right here. OJ was just sharing some information of what he had seen as far as sales of the Nintendo Switch and the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle, and that it's sold out like crazy. And David Gibson quoted him and said, yes, shipment volumes in October to the USA were up 30% year over year. Crazy records about to be made. Now, while we're not getting any hard, official, confirmed numbers just yet from like Nintendo or NPD or any of that stuff, at the end of the day, this is still pretty impressive because David Gibson seems to be somebody who is within the industry and knows what he's talking about. And what he's saying is that 30% shipments over last year for the Nintendo Switch is insanely impressive. And he talks about records are about to be made. So basically, Nintendo is continually on pace to be breaking records for sales for the Nintendo Switch. They really have been, ever since the damn thing launched back in March of 2017, they've kept that steady pace, doing even better than I predicted on their best day. As a huge Nintendo fan who was excited for the Switch, I never saw them doing this well, this short into the life of the console 3 years in. I was never even sure they were going to crack 100 million or surpass the Nintendo Wii. But around a year ago, I started to change my tune, and I have to admit that it seems very likely that that is going to happen. All credit to the Nintendo and the Switch. I do love the Switch, so I'm very happy to see it. And they're going to break more records, apparently, according to David Gibson here. 30% increase in shipments means that Nintendo knows that they're selling. That happened in October, right before the big holiday November shopping month and the Black Friday shopping day at the end of November. This is crazy. Now, obviously, an important thing for us to talk about here is what this says in relation to the launch of the next generation, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Does this show that the Nintendo Switch is a better machine than those two? Does it show that it's even selling better than those two and that those two aren't quite as popular as the Nintendo Switch is right now? And the answer to all of that, for the most part, is really no, because we're at the stage where it's way too early to tell what the overall impact of the PS5 and Series X is and what their sales and their sales momentum is going to be. And so comparing their launch sales in a pandemic year with short shipments and crazy amounts of scalpers, how they compare to the Nintendo Switch, which already has crazy momentum and a couple of huge titles this year that's helping to sell that console, it's not really a one-to-one comparison just yet. Now, talk to me during the summer next year in 2021, or talk to me during 1 year from now, holiday 2021, then all of these sales numbers between the Switch, PS5, and Series X are going to make a lot more sense and give us a more accurate picture of what's more popular than what and how things are going to sell overall. And I think that that's a key factor that I don't see a lot of other people really considering right now. Seeing the Switch sell 30% better in October and November than they did last year, whereas PS5s and Series X's are sold out and you can't seem to find them, isn't really saying that the Switch is doing so much better than PS5 and Xbox Series X. And I'm obviously not trying to say the Switch isn't doing very well, because the Switch is doing crazy well. 30% increase, 3.5 years in, are you kidding me? Still selling Mario Kart and Animal Crossing like it's going out of style. It is remarkable the success the Switch is having. But we're not seeing evidence that the Switch is going to be is actually doing better than PS5 and Series X. We're not yet seeing evidence that it's even more popular than these brand new consoles. It's too early to tell, and PS5 and Series X's being sold out really kind of hurts the situation, which is why I don't think we should really try to form opinions just yet on what's more popular than what, or what's selling better than the other. If we're being honest with ourselves, having limited stock and supply of PS5s and Series X's doesn't show that the Switch is selling so much better and is more popular, but it also doesn't show that the PS5s and Series X's are as popular as they could be, because by limiting the supply, it doesn't give us the best overall gauge of how those consoles are doing. If there was 10 million consoles available each for those machines and they were only selling half of their supply, we could say, oh, they're not quite as popular as we thought. They're not even selling out. But on the flip side, if they did have 10 million consoles available each and they were sold out, then we could say, whoa, they are so popular, they're selling out even to the huge numbers of 10 million apiece, right? And so everything becomes really hard to gauge. This is a launch period where consoles are always sold out at launch. Heck, even the Wii U, you guys, if you go back and remember that, which we know turned out to be unfortunately a sales failure, even the Wii U was sold out for its first couple of shipments in its initial month or two on the market, before things basically just fell off a cliff completely. And so we're at the period where we already expect consoles to be short on supply and sold out like crazy during the holiday time when they're brand new. You also throw in the COVID situation, which we know is even further limiting the supply. And yes, we expect them to be sold out. Yes, it's impressive when a machine is sold out no matter what time of year, but it's not letting us know everything. Does this mean the PS5 and Series X are going to be crazy successful and sold out forever? We don't know. Does it mean that they're doing poorly and they're only sold out because there isn't a lot on the market? We don't know. Does it mean that the Switch is so unstoppable it's going to sell better than the PS5 and Series X forever? We don't know. What we do know is the Switch is still killing it. That is undisputed. You can't go against that. It is a fact. But we still need to see PS5 and Series X. And like I said, in 6 months during the summer or in a year during next holiday, then we're going to have a great picture of how everything is doing, and it's going to let us know what's going on. And in many ways, this is kind of showing a lot of what I was predicting throughout the year, and it's showing that we still need to wait to see what Nintendo's long-term plan is. Because, you know, for a long time, for the last year and a half or so, I've been saying that Nintendo can't overall turn a blind eye to new machines from Sony and Microsoft. They can't completely ignore the next generation. I have been saying that yes, Nintendo can maintain some crazy good momentum and crazy strong sales initially through the launch of a PS5 and an Xbox Series X. I knew that they would still do well right away during this holiday period, and I expect they're going to continue to do well throughout next year as well. Absolutely. Like, for a while, they can still keep the awesome momentum of the Switch, and they got a bunch of good games coming next year. I'm sure that's going to help. But this is part of the reason why I've been predicting 2022 or 23 for a next-gen console, because I think coming out of 2021, so we're talking the January, February, March time of 2022, that's where I've been predicting, and I still expect we'll start to see things level out for the Switch. It's going to be kicking ass for the next 12 to 18 months, absolutely, you guys. But around that time, a year to 18 months down the road, I could be wrong. But right now, my feeling is the way PS5 and Series X will be shaping the overall, software for the next year to 2 years, I think that eventually Switch is going to have to start to catch up. And Nintendo will realize this is about the time we've got to move on to our next generation, because now we're being way too outpaced by PS5 and Series X and these third-party games that our machine can't run, and sales are leveling out, and so here's the new console. Again, these are 100% guesses and theories and predictions for me, okay? I'm obviously not basing this on fact, nor am I telling you that I'm 100% going to be right. Anyone could be wrong at any time. I don't think a lot of people do a good job acknowledging when their predictions either could be wrong or already have been proven wrong. I don't really know why that is, but you guys know that that's not me. I feel confident in my prediction, but just like I was wrong with the Switch passing 100 million units, so we think, I could be wrong about this. I was really confident the Switch was going to struggle to cross 100 million units in the first year or two of the Switch's life. And again, I think that I'm going to be proven wrong. So I can be wrong. I've been right many times. I've been wrong sometimes. And I do feel confident in my prediction that about 22 or 23, we're going to see the next-gen console from Nintendo, because after the next year or 18 months, Switch's sales will start to slow down. I'm confident in that prediction, but it could be wrong, right? So let's remember that when we get to next holiday and we start to see things come into shape. If Nintendo still seems unstoppable, then great, maybe I was wrong. If things are starting to slow down and PS5 and Series X are keeping their momentum, then yeah, maybe I will have been right. So it will be fun to see how it all shapes out, but I just thought that with all these crazy sales, 30% increase over last year, Switch is doing great, even though PS5 and Series X launch. It's all fascinating, man. I love this stuff. I love seeing the new numbers. I love seeing next-generation consoles start to change the landscape. It's exciting to me. And I'm excited because part of my big prediction here is that, eventually we'll see the next-generation Nintendo console. I love the Switch, but I'm also getting excited at the prospect of a new machine, something that could more keep pace with PS5 and Series X in a year or two down the road. That's exciting to me, even as a Nintendo fan. So at the end of the day, these are my thoughts and opinions. I know I feel like I just yelled a bunch of different crazy thoughts and numbers and predictions and guesses all over the place here in this video, but this is just how much fun I have talking about this stuff. So hopefully you guys found it interesting. I'd be curious what you think about my overall thoughts and theories about how things may play out, and about Nintendo's current awesome sales, even though we have a PS5 and Series X on the market. And I want to hear your own predictions. Do your predictions and thoughts line up with mine, or do you have something completely different that you think is going to happen? Whatever it is, talk about it below. And with that, this video is a wrap. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.